All right, if you're running a business in India, you know that managing GST can sometimes feel like a full-time job in itself. Well, what if I told you a new system just launched that could actually change all of that? Today, we're going to dive deep into the GST Invoice Management System, or IMS. So, let me ask you this. Are you spending hours, maybe even days, matching up purchase orders to invoices, chasing down suppliers, and just constantly worrying if you're claiming the right input tax credit? If any of that sounds familiar, you're going to want to pay very close attention. The new invoice management system is designed to solve exactly these problems. To really get why IMS is such a big deal, we first got to take a quick look back at the headaches of the old way of doing things. So, on one side, you've got the old way. And let's be honest, it was a recipe for stress. It was so slow, totally prone to human error, and it often led to these frustrating delays in getting your input tax credit, which, as you know, directly hits your cash flow. The promise of the new IMS is to completely flip that script. We're talking streamlined, accurate, and most importantly, it puts you back in the driver's seat. So what exactly is this new system? Well, try to think of it less as just another compliance task and more like a brand new superpower for your finance team. At its heart, the IMS is basically a communication tool that's built right into the GST portal. The best way to think about it is like a digital handshake. Your supplier uploads an invoice, and the system immediately shows it to you so you can confirm, yep, this is correct, long before it ever touches your tax return. It's all about getting that verification done right at the start. Okay, so here's how it works. You get to see your supplier invoices in almost real time, and you have 3 simple actions you can take. Now, this next part is crucial. If you do nothing, the system automatically assumes you've accepted the invoice. And one more thing, while it is voluntary for now, jumping on this early could be a huge strategic advantage for managing your tax credits proactively. All right, let's get into the core of the system, those 3 critical actions. Understanding when to use each one is really the key to mastering the IMS. It's actually pretty straightforward. You hit accept when everything looks perfect. The invoice details match your records and you've actually received the goods. You reject if something is obviously wrong, like it's a duplicate invoice, the amounts are incorrect, or it's for something you never even ordered. And then you use pending for those in-between cases, like when the invoice shows up but the truck carrying your goods is still on the road. You're not saying it's wrong, you're just saying, hang on, I'm waiting for the final piece of the puzzle. But, and this is a big but, there's a really critical exception you need to know about. You can't mark certain documents as pending, especially things like credit notes. For these, the system needs a clear yes or no from you, either accept or reject. This is basically to stop any delays in settling adjustments between you and your supplier. Okay, so you're in there accepting and rejecting invoices, but how does this all actually connect to the bottom line, your GST filings? Let's trace how these actions flow straight into your GSTR-2B and 3B. This right here is the dream scenario. When you click Accept on an invoice, the system automatically flags that input tax credit as available. It just flows seamlessly into your GSTR-2B report, all ready for you to claim in your GSTR-3B. It's a clean, direct path, no more guesswork. And when you hit Reject, well, the exact opposite happens. The system clearly marks that ITC as rejected in your GSTR-2B. This effectively blocks the credit, which is great because it protects you from accidentally claiming it on an invoice that's incorrect or still in dispute. So what about pending? Think of this as hitting the pause button. A pending invoice just stays put on your IMS dashboard. It doesn't go anywhere near your GSTR-2B, which means the tax credit is deferred. It's basically on hold until you go back in and make a final call to either accept or reject it. Now, to make all this work, you have to keep an eye on the calendar. The system went live back on October 1st, but the key date you absolutely need to circle every single month is the 14th. That's when the draft GSTR-2B gets generated based on whatever you've done so far. You can still make changes after that, but your absolute final drop-dead deadline to act is your GSTR-3B due date. Look, like any new system, the IMS has a bit of a learning curve. So let's talk about some of the common challenges you might run into so you can sidestep them right from the get-go. First up is a big one. The IMS is not a complete replacement for your old reconciliation process. At least, not yet. It doesn't handle every single type of document, like invoices under the reverse charge mechanism, for example. What this means for now is that you'll need to run 2 processes in parallel. Use the IMS for all the invoices that show up there, and keep doing your traditional GSTR-2B matching for everything else.
So what happens if you have that oops moment and accidentally reject a perfectly valid invoice? This is so important. You cannot undo that action in the IMS. There's no back button. The only solution is communication. You have to pick up the phone, contact your supplier immediately, explain what happened, and ask them to either amend or re-upload the invoice. Only they can fix it and put it back in the system for you to accept.
Okay, we've covered the what, the why, and the how. Now, let's pull this all together into a simple, actionable game plan you can start using today. Here is your new monthly routine in 3 easy steps. First, monitor the IMS dashboard regularly. Don't let those invoices pile up. Second, act on them in a timely manner. Get it done well before the deadline starts stressing you out. And third, coordinate clearly. If you reject something, don't just leave it there. Send that email or make that call to your supplier right away. Ultimately, being successful with this new system comes down to this right here. IMS isn't just another software feature. It's a whole new business process. It demands a systematic approach and really, really good communication with your suppliers and partners. So, I'll leave you with this one final thought. The invoice management system gives you a level of control and transparency over your invoices that you've just never had before. So the real question is, how are you going to use that power? How can this new clarity help you manage your cash flow better, improve your supplier relationships, and really strengthen the overall financial health of your business?